up, winter storms are bearing down across the state. We have your forecast, updates, and alerts to keep you prepared as the snow continues to pile up.
Plus, the Wyoming Rescue Mission saw a record number of attendees over the past 24 hours as residents seek refuge from the cold. We take a look inside.
And it is Wednesday, so we have your warrant watch to see who is wanted in your community.
You're watching the K2 News at 5.
Well, it may be almost spring, but that winter weather has hit Wyoming hard across the state. Feet of snow piling up on the roadways. Good evening, Wyoming. I'm Sloan Dickey.
And I'm Hallie Jones. That frigid weather shutting down city and state governments in Wyoming, and highways remain closed, including most of I-25. The storm may be on track to set records of snowfall and wind speeds.
All right, now as you can see right now at the top of the hour, the snow is still coming down here in Casper. We're getting a nice little gust. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but a nice little burst of snow starting to come down again here at the station. Some places are already seeing between 6 to as much as 9, even 10 inches in downtown Casper. Officially at the airport as of 3 o'clock, they only had 4.5 inches. Now the snow chances will continue as we go on into the evening and overnight hours. Take a look at the advisory map, and I want to draw your attention to the winter storm warning that's still in effect for portions of central Wyoming, the blizzard warning in effect for portions of eastern Wyoming, and the winter weather advisory that is in effect for the western portion of Fremont County on into Hot Springs County and in portions of Lincoln County. Now, all these advisories expire throughout the day tomorrow. Some of these go until 6 o'clock at night, so you really want to keep it tuned here over the next 24 hours for the latest updates. And right now, we're seeing temperatures in the 20s, 30s towards Worland. That's actually the warmest spot across the state, 32 degrees. And we take a look at the advisory map again. There's that winter weather advisory, there's your winter storm warning, and there's that blizzard warning that's going to continue throughout the next several hours. Now, Lynx HD radar still showing snow across portions of southeastern Wyoming as well as central Wyoming. You can see southeastern Wyoming right there across I-80 getting in on some snow, heavy snow towards the Cheyenne area. I'll have Wyoming's most accurate forecast in a few minutes. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Eric. Well, with those temperatures dropping here in Casper, the Wyoming Rescue Mission is approaching a record number of meals served.
That's right. K2's Ryan Berger was there, and he has the details.
With most businesses in Casper shut down, combined with the increasingly dangerous road conditions, the Wyoming Rescue Mission continues to keep its doors open.
So important at the Wyoming Rescue Mission that we have a warm, safe facility, getting ready to have lunch, and just grateful to be able to serve.
Because of the harsh conditions, the mission is issuing a reminder that there's a place that's dry and warm if you need it.
You know, this time of year in this weather, I mean, the services are so critical. I mean, our community is so amazing, the generosity that they make possible, the facility for people that are struggling with homelessness.
The mission is usually at about half capacity, ensuring that nobody should have to spend the night on the streets.
We can house up to 200 individuals. We're in a brand new facility, our Perk Street Center.
Even if you're not staying the night, many visit the mission just for a meal.
We're serving about 140, 160 meals a day. Today will be more meals just because people can't get out and get to their employment. A number of businesses are closed where folks work. Plus the bus system is down as well today.
Wednesday, the mission gave out over 200 meals at lunchtime, more than they've ever served before.
We're here getting them restored and grateful for a safe, warm sanctuary in this miserable blizzard condition weather.
In Casper, Ryan Berger, K2 News.
Thank you, Ryan. And now down to Laramie County as the blizzard intensified throughout Cheyenne. Most roads became impassable, and the Cheyenne Police Department warned residents they were in violation. Authorities claimed despite warnings from the department and WYDOT to stay off the roads, many were still out and about driving in dangerous conditions. In response to this, the Capital City cops say if they respond to motorists who have ignored the no driving warnings, they may receive a citation for careless driving.
When we have officers tied up on a bunch of accidents, we can't respond to other calls that are going on in the city. The biggest safety tip, and it's a pretty obvious one, when we have these kind of big storms coming in, is if you don't have to drive, don't be out on the road.
And in the midst of all the snow in Laramie County, Sheriff's Department still wants you to keep your eyes out for two men with outstanding warrants. Take a look.
This week, the Sheriff's Department is looking for Joseph Sen and Isaac Garcia. Sen is a 27-year-old male. He is 5'8", 180 pounds, and he has black hair and brown eyes. Garcia is a 26-year-old male. He is 5'5", 170 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Both of these individuals are wanted on warrant for first-degree attempted murder. So if anybody has information currently where they are, contact dispatch at 637-6524. For all other tips, call Silent Witness at silentwitness@LaramieCounty.com or 638-TIPS.
And now to Fremont County this evening. In Lander, a patrol sergeant has been presented with a life-saving award at Lander City Council meeting after performing CPR on an infant on February 15th. Millington was dispatched to a residence in Lander in February, and officials say his quick actions directly saved the infant's life. The Lander Police Department and the City Council presented Millington with the award.
It's always a great honor to be able to sit there and recognize one of our own, especially whenever they do a life-saving event. In this situation, especially being an infant child, the sergeant was able to use his training that he's received from our own combat medics that we have in our department. Happy event to be able to see the mother and the child here today, also wanting to thank the sergeant for his efforts. So it always makes any police department proud.
And now to northwest Wyoming in Yellowstone National Park. Officials recorded the first grizzly bear sighting of 2019 as males come out of hibernation. According to the Wyoming Game and Fish Department, visitors spotted a large bear in the park last Wednesday and then again on Monday. Officials warn that male bears can become aggressive while looking for food in the springtime.
It's that time of year where we remind people to be bear aware, and we'll start seeing more bears come out as we move into late March and April. It's very important that we remind the public to report any grizzly bear especially grizzly bear activity to us. If we know about a situation early, there's a lot more options that we have on the table to potentially reduce that potential for conflict.
Well, with St. Patrick's Day celebrations coming here soon, they are going to be less spirited this year, as a new national survey expects Americans will spend less money celebrating the Irish this year.
Interesting, but people will still have a good time and keep that green beer flowing. With today's Consumer Watch, KTWO Stephanie Chaynock has the details.
Parades, house parties, and green beer. Are you ready to patty this St. Patty's Day? Apparently this year, people will be spending less green. According to the National Retail Federation, the average person plans to spend an average of $40 for St. Patrick's Day. The NRF says the March 17th celebration will bring in a total of $5.61 billion to the economy. That's below last year's total of nearly $6 billion. According to the survey, the biggest spenders will be 18 to 34 years old. The biggest portion of that spending will be on food and drinks. More than 70% of people celebrating intend to wear something green and buy St. Patrick's Day themed items. For people under the age of 35, 86% of women and 82% of men plan to step out in green. In fact, 30% of all surveyed partiers say they plan to buy new clothing for the big day. After all, no one wants to get pinched. In Casper, Stephanie Chaynock, K2 News.
Thank you, Stephanie. St. Patrick's Day, it's coming up.
It is. You know, here in Casper, I think the weather is going to be somewhat decent on Saturday. Eric will have more, but yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, snow crawl, that could be fun. It's really not that bad outside. It's not
and
too
beer
cold.
always warms you up a little bit.
That is true. And if you can't have beer, have some green eggs and ham.
There you go.
But it's not.
Coming up after the break, after his second sentencing in a week, Paul Manafort, the president's former campaign chairman, will be serving nearly 8 years in prison. We'll have the details next.
And if you have a news tip, please call 472-1850.
You're watching the K2 News at 5.
Welcome back now to Washington, D.C. After his second sentencing in a week, Paul Manafort, the president's former campaign chairman, will be serving nearly 8 years in prison in total.
A federal judge in D.C. giving Manafort a 43 additional months on top of the 47 months he was sentenced in Virginia. But after that was the latest sentence was announced, Manafort was charged by the Manhattan District Attorney in New York with mortgage fraud. ABC's Serena Marshall reports from the court in Washington.
Paul Manafort sentenced to an additional 43 months, nearly 8 years in prison total, when combined with his earlier sentence in Virginia last week. Sitting in the D.C. courtroom, the judge deciding the 69-year-old will spend 3.5 years behind bars for crimes including conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and money laundering. Crimes he pleaded guilty to as part of a plea deal with special counsel investigators that prosecutors say he then violated by continuing to lie to them. That time includes his conviction for witness tampering, too. Leaving court, though, his lawyer disappointed.
Such a callous, harsh sentence that is totally unnecessary.
In court, Manafort read from the same statement he gave the judge in Virginia, telling Jackson, "My life personally and professionally is in shambles. This is an ordeal I am responsible for. I ask for your compassion." And while he received compassion from the president,
I feel very badly for Paul Manafort. I think it's a very sad situation.
The former Trump campaign chairman's lies clearly troubling to the judge, telling him, "Saying I'm sorry I got caught is not an inspiring plea for leniency." And she emphasized that while this case is not about Russia collusion, she called Manafort's attorney's citing of the non-collusion mantra a non sequitur. Minutes after Paul Manafort was sentenced here in D.C. on those federal crimes, he was indicted in New York on state charges including mortgage fraud and conspiracy. And while President Trump said today he hasn't given a pardon of Manafort a second thought, if he decided to do so, Manafort could still face prison time on those state charges if convicted. At U.S. District Court, Serena Marshall, ABC News.
And still to come on KTWO News at 5, Eric Dean is going to take a look at this crazy weather we have across the Cowboy State.
And here are your closing market numbers for this Wednesday, March 13th. We'll be right back.
Live from the K2 studios in the heart of Wyoming, this is the K2 News at 5 with Hallie Jones, Sloan Dickey, Chief Meteorologist Eric Dean, and Sports with Carmine Jammet. Today's closed captioning is brought to you by... And now, here's your weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Eric Dean.
All right, this is a scene in Cheyenne right now. You can see the snow starting to taper off just a smidge. We have fog at the airport with a temperature of 24. It feels like 7 out there. The humidity is at 91% with winds out of the north at 25 miles per hour with a 52 mile per hour wind gust. We're seeing snow here in Casper at the Natrona County Airport with a temperature of 25. It feels like 9 out there. The humidity is at 92% with winds out of the north at 28 miles per hour. So we take a look at the temperatures across the state, and with the exception of Jackson and Worland, we're seeing temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. And we take a look at that feels like temperature. It feels like temperatures are in the single digits, especially towards Laramie, where we have that feels like temperature of 2, 29 in Torrington, 19 in Worland, 15 Cody, 20 in Jackson. Big Piney check in with a feels like temperature of 15 degrees. Now we take a look at that 24-hour temperature change, and here in Casper we are 22 degrees cooler than 24 hours ago. Douglas 29 degrees cooler likewise in Cheyenne. So we take a look here at the advisory map. Here's that winter weather advisory. The area is shaded in purple for Hot Springs County, Fremont County, a little bit of Sublette County. Winter storm warning is still in effect for western Sheridan County, all of Johnson County, Natrona County, and Sweetwater County. And then that blizzard warning remains in effect for the eastern third of the state. So here's Lynx HD radar. You notice that snow starting to push its way in across portions of central Wyoming again. Southern Wyoming again getting in on some snow. Let's go ahead and go down to Cheyenne, and you can see the snow really starting to ramp up across portions of southeastern Wyoming. And that's where you find KKTQ's Giovanni Pinto with the latest. Gio, what's going on down there?
Well, Eric, this morning when I was getting ready for work, it looked like meteorologists had majorly overpredicted the weather, because here in Cheyenne, we hadn't even had a snowflake yet. But around 8:30, I quickly ate my words because the snow started whipping in. Now, I just got off the phone with the National Weather Service, and while they say the storm started a little later than anticipated, they claim the cell is actually slightly stronger than what the original monitors were showing. Those meteorologists were also explaining how this blizzard may in fact be one for the books, as they claim the pressure of the system is possibly the lowest they've ever seen, which is what makes this storm even stronger. So looking at original predictions of snowfall, they were calling for 12 to 18 inches, and the National Weather Service says we are on track for that. Original wind speed predictions were 30 to 45 mile an hour sustained winds with gusts of 65 miles an hour. And if you can't tell, good old windy Wyoming delivered, and we have seen wind gusts and sustained winds at those speeds. Now, Cheyenne Mayor Marion Orr yesterday tweeted out that she was going to close all city offices and schools, and she made the right call. Governor Gordon making the call this morning to close all state offices in Cheyenne. LCCC closed its doors, and even some clinics and outpatient centers at CRMC and the VA Center also closed as well. Due to this harsh and severe weather, it's just completely dangerous out on the roads. Now, there are many road closures, speaking of which, throughout the state. Major ones, I-25 from the Colorado border all the way up to Casper is closed in both directions. I-80 from the Nebraska border all the way to Rock Springs, also closed in both directions, with many other road closures in that mix, and none of which are even anticipated to be looked at or opened by the morning. So, Eric, I am hoping that the worst of this has passed by this point, because I am ready for that post-storm warm-up. This is Giovanni Pinto in the capital city. Back to you in Casper.
Giovanni, you're wanting a spring warm-up, and I have good news. I think you're going to get one next week. Take a look here at Future Scan. As we start the clock, the snow chances start to dissipate throughout the evening and overnight hours across central Wyoming. Southeastern Wyoming is going to remain for your Thursday morning. By the late morning, early afternoon hours, we get a break in the snow. The clouds will dissipate in the afternoon and evening hours, and then we're left with sunny skies on Friday. Now, one thing to know, if you do have to get somewhere tonight, make sure you check with YDOT. You can dial the toll-free number or use the 511 app on your app or Play Store. Overnight lows for tonight, single digits and teens, 20s across the eastern portion of the state. For tomorrow, much like today, we're going to flirt with the freezing mark. Some places will stay in the upper 20s. So here's a look at your forecast for tonight. We're going to drop down to 18 degrees. The snow chance will still remain. Blowing snow is definitely a possibility, with winds out of the north around 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. On your Metrocast, you see the snow lingering by the 8 o'clock hour with a temperature of 20 degrees. We go to 28 by your noon hour. And then we take a look here at the breakdown over the next 7 days. Look at St. Patrick's Day on Sunday. We go to 42 degrees. Look at Wednesday. Like Giovanni said, he wants a spring warm-up, and he's going to get one. Look at that Wednesday, 50 degrees. Overall, not a bad 7-day. And then we take a look here at the first 3 days across the state. Temperatures in the 30s and 40s Friday, likewise on Saturday. And then look at next Wednesday, Cheyenne. Yeah, 50 degrees. Not too bad, but we've got to get past the next 24 hours first.
So as the old saying goes, there's a light at the end of the snowstorm.
Yes.
I'm really excited.
Is that what they say?
I think
Yeah,
so. Okay.
I think you just made that up. But we'll go with it. It's a tunnel, I think.
A tunnel, there it is.
There it is.
Guys, the Polk women's basketball team is looking for a light at the end of that snowstorm, tunnel, whatever you want to say.
There you go. Everyone's looking for it.
They played a great game last night in the conference semifinals. Highlights from that, plus Cowboy basketball first round results, and more next on K2.
Now, here's your latest K2 Sports with Carmine Jamay.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Carmine Jamay. Both Wyoming basketball teams are playing in the Mountain West Conference Tournament. Last night, the 3-seed Cowgirls played the 7-seed San Diego State Aztecs in the semifinals. The Wyoming women looking for their first trip to the Mountain West Championship game in program history. And it was a close game all the way. Less than 25 seconds left, game tied. Conference Defensive Player of the Year Bailey Cotton tries to draw the charge, no call, and Zane's Dornstadter lays it in. Then less than 10 seconds left, Polk's down, 2 season on the line. Karya Eryavitz drives, and she's fouled. She needs both free throws for the tie. First one, good. Second one, Carla got it. She's a member of the conference all-freshman team, and she is hyped up. The Aztecs, though, with a few seconds to get off a shot. Solid defense by Wyoming, and Sophia Ramos can't get one up in time. So we go to overtime with the season on the line. 2.5 minutes left. Pokes down 2. Not anymore. Marta Gomez for 3. That gives the Pokes a 1-point lead. Then a minute later, Pokes still up 1. Carla spinning and somehow gets the lefty runner to go. Carla the hero in regulation and overtime. And after 15 lead changes and 15 ties, Wyoming wins 75-70. They advance to their first Mountain West Championship game in program history. Marta with 25 points, 8 boards, Carla with 16, 4 and 4. And here's head coach Joe Legursky after the historic win.
And you saw a change on our bench during that intermission between regulation and overtime, and it seemed we relaxed. They were excited again, and then I said Marta took over, and that's a great player to have on my side.
So now the Wyoming women advance to their first Mountain West Championship game in program history. They'll play top-seeded Boise State for the title at 7 tonight on CBS Sports Network. The Pokes and the Broncos split their 2 games this season, each winning on their home court. And Boise State comes in as the regular season champs. They're dangerous, 27-4 overall and 16-2 in conference play. Here's Poke leading scorer Marta Gomez on tonight's championship game.
It's kind of crazy to represent the state of Wyoming in the championship game, but I think it's just one more game. As Coach told us in the locker room, we just need to enjoy the moment that we are living and just think that it's a great experience for us to be able to actually play in that game.
Good luck to the Poke women trying to make history tonight. And the Poke men played their first round game against New Mexico today. It just finished, and unfortunately, Wyoming is eliminated from the conference tournament. New Mexico beat our Cowboys by 10 points today in Las Vegas. Seniors Justin James and Jordan Naughton finish up great careers. They combined for 41 points today. But like most of the season, Justin James couldn't do it himself. He finishes as just the 6th Wyoming player to score 2,000 career points. And the thing that hurts the most about this loss is the Cowboys had an 11-point lead at halftime. And down in Denver, we officially have a new quarterback. The Broncos traded a 4th-round pick in this year's NFL draft for the Ravens' Joe Flacco. And remember, Flacco's a Super Bowl MVP and champion for the Ravens. But that was 7 Super Bowls ago. And last season, he was replaced by rookie Lamar Jackson. So we'll see if Flacco's done or if he's out to prove something. And as for the Broncos QB last year, Case Keenum, he's going to the Redskins officially today, along with the Broncos' 2020 7th-round pick in exchange for the Redskins' 2020 6th-round pick. Therefore, Keenum's $7 million salary next year is off the Broncos' books. And staying in Denver, the Nuggets hosting the Timberwolves last night, and it looks like the Joker is rubbing off on his teammates. Check out Mason Plumlee with the over-the-head dish to Nikola Jokic for the easy one. Plumlee's thinking, how do I get that to my teammate? We'll just drop it over the head. Simple and great play. But then Plumlee on the receiving end of a highlight. Karl Anthony Towns with the big slam. But we get the last laugh, beating the Timberwolves by 26. Now just 1 point back of the Golden State Warriors for that lead in the Western Conference. Ooh, you just caught that Paul Millsap half quarter. And guys, nice revenge, because last year, a lot of our sports fans will remember the T-Wolves in the final regular season game knocked the Nuggets out of the playoffs. I'm sure they remember
Sweet
that.
revenge right there.
All right, yeah. Well, thank you, Carmine.
Yeah.
Basketball, it's getting exciting on all levels. Well,
Lots of
high
basketball,
school's
too.
over now.
And then you got college, March Madness.
Yes,
Look
whoa.
at you. All right. Well, we got to
I
go.
like how I
Thank
get
you,
a
Carmine.
sticker
We'll be
every
right back
time
after the
I
break.
say something about sports. Oh, we still got some storms out there.
Yes, tonight on into tomorrow morning.
All right, thank you, Eric. Stay tuned to K2 TV for all your weather updates. Stay safe out there.
And school updates.
Yes, and we'll see you at 6.